What was the most fricked up thing you saw in school? A kid hung himself on a playground our senior year. I hear his brother found him. This all happened a week after two of the brother's friends, also seniors, died when they wrapped their classic Mustang around a tree near the HS. Made for a rough senior year to say the least. Jesus Christ, poor guy. How's he doing now? A kid jumped over the balcony to try and beat the rush on mashed potato day. He broke both his legs. Did not get his potatoes. Took me too long to realize mashed potato day is probably just the day your cafeteria serves mashed potatoes, and not some kind of big yearly mashed potato event at your school. Aw man, I wish it would have been a mashed potato event. That would have been so amazing. But alas, no, just plain old mashed potato day. It was every Friday and always a madhouse trying to get down to the cafeteria due to the way the school was set up. There was no way on God's green earth that school cafeteria mashed potatoes were so good that students looked forward to them. What the hell was the secret ingredient? Heroin? They were good. I think it was just the gravy. It was a solid country gravy, terribly unhealthy with every bite. A kid clipped the tip of his tongue off with a pair of safety scissors after someone dared him to. One of my brother's friends cut the very tip of his nose off cause someone dared him to. Maybe it was to spite his face. A kid in my school year stabbed one of my friends in the back. Not verbally, I mean with an actual kitchen knife. We were 11. When I was 9, someone stabbed another kid in the back with the maths compass. Just randomly with no real motive or logic. Why do the most violent stories here involve elementary age kids? Cause kids at that age are psychopaths. A girl was coming back from a doctor's appointment and wasn't there to hear that we couldn't get out equipment for recess. She opened the door, grabbed something and went to leave. The wind kicked up and slammed the door on her hand and she lost a finger. They rushed her to the hospital and they sewed it back on and eventually it was back to normal. But that was the most fricked up thing I had seen. I actually remember that happening to someone in the daycare my mom put me in. Needless to say, I didn't stay in that daycare for very long. In first grade, a boy pulled his pants and underwear to below his knees and lay down on his back. Then a girl spat on him. I don't remember why, but I will never forget that sight. 2 fetuses were born on that day. A couple fricking in the dumpster behind the cafeteria. For the rest of the year, people would walk up behind the dude crinkling paper and asking if it was getting him hard. Just to add a bit, 4 or 5 of my friends and I stumbled upon this event while we were coming back on campus and one of them went to throw his trash away. It got around the school pretty damn fast. It's probably a good thing that I'm old enough that the smartphone wasn't a thing when I was in high school, because there's a good shot that one of the group would have been dumb and taken a picture that included a 17-year-old having X. Like physically in the dumpster or just behind it in some sort of enclosure? Inside the dumpster, where the trash belongs. Why didn't they just do it? Next to the dumpster? Having a guy who killed his wife then come to the school and held my class hostage to try to force the school to give him his son so he could kill him. He was finally caught on his way to kill his parents. I think I've heard of this story before. I have told it before. Happened in Chicago. Some kid kept eating in the sink every week and they had to keep cleaning it up. One day I walked in the bathroom and someone had put it on the wall. Had some girls in my high school who were creating works of art in the same fashion. They were deemed the fecal phantoms and were never caught. We had the notorious Wastikas smeared on the walls of a stall one day. Never found out who did it. I feel like I may have gone to your school, or fecal swastikas are more common than I thought. But I choose not to believe that. I saw the PE teacher getting a heart attack during class and dying. It was freaking scary. Half the teachers at my school are old, some 80+, so it is inevitable that will happen at my school one day. They train all the students how to use a defib and do CPR, which I personally think all schools should do anyway. What are you going to do when your heart stops? I would die. And you're okay with that? I'm okay with the logic of it. I worked at an American school in China a while back. One day, one of the school buses was on the way to campus from the city and there was an accident that students saw. A truck ran over a man riding his bicycle. The students on the bus witnessed the accident and watched as the man lay dying on the road. They were stuck in traffic and couldn't get away from the horrific scene for over 20 minutes. Kids were crying and traumatized. Most of them were elementary school students. There was a lot of grief counseling in the months after that. Wow. Were you able to do anything to calm the kids down? Or were you in shock yourself? Yes, many of us were in shock, too. Details given by the bus driver just made the whole situation seem even worse. The bus driver was amazing, by the way. He helped calm the students down on the rest of the long drive to school. He was fantastic. According to him, the truck driver drove off and no police came for a long time. Bus driver was Chinese and radioed to other buses about the accident and told them to take a different route. And they all monitored to the radio for information about the situation. Anyway, we had some wonderful counselors in the elementary school, and our principal and assistant principal stepped in to help as well. The students were more in shock to begin with rather than openly upset and crying by the time they reached school. Again, thanks to the great bus driver who had a wonderful rapport with the students. Thankfully, there were not many students per bus. I think that bus was one of the larger buses, but it still only had 10-12 students, compared to American buses which hold 40-50 students at least. The school did a good job communicating with parents right away so they knew what happened and got some information about what the school was doing to help. In the end, while all students were monitored on an ongoing basis, only a few showed need for weekly sessions with one of the counselors over the course of the next few months. It was crazy, and I wonder about those kids and what they remember. It had to be scarring, and our scope of care was limited. We just tried to keep them in their regular routine as much as possible and watch for any signs of social withdrawal, etc. Watch two girls get into a fight. One girl had a bunch of ear piercings and was wearing so many hoops it looked like chainmail. The other girl got her on the ground, grabbed those hoops and pulled. Hard. I will never forget the scream. The rings didn't give, but her ear sure as hell did. Blood everywhere. The girl standing over her like a goddamn psychopath holding a very recognizable ear in the air above her head. It was freaking Mortal Kombat in real life. Girl fights in school were always nuts. My very first day of high school, two girls got in a fight. They were punching each other, clawing at their faces and ripping each other's weave out, and a teacher came to stop them. Well, this teacher was rewarded with a shot to the kidney and he got dropped. What an intro to high school it was. Her ear actually came off? Like almost entirely. There might have been a nub left, but there was enough of it held high that if someone hadn't seen it happen and just walked by, they would definitely know it to be an ear. What happened to the girl? A girl had diarrhea and was wearing tights and sitting in class and the tights started getting really lumpy, but she didn't get up to go to the bathroom. What the frick? Gotta wait to move slick and sly with the crowd so when it runs down your leg you can kinda shake it off since there's less suspicion of who it came from. Who's gonna check or notice if I hit my pants while in a crowded hallway, right? As you briskly walk to the locker room before anyone else and then hide in that bathroom until the bell rang. And then wait until everyone leaves so you can safely change out of your mud diaper and dispose of the evidence. Can't say I've ever been in that situation, but I get it. Many years ago I sat next to a kid in high school who went on to kill his mom. He would always bring in photos of homemade bombs from 2-liter bottles, flamethrowers from squirt guns, etc. I thought it was the coolest thing and was so impressed by it until later on when I recognized I was encouraging a to-be murderer to keep being violent. I remember a lot kids being interested in fire and blowing it up, with fireworks mostly, and most turn out fine. Ask a crowd of people if they used to play with either, and I bet just about everyone will have some stories. I had a friend that was allergic to so many things he had to eat the same thing every day that he brought from home. I literally mean every day for years. He had a very bad day, failed a test, some things happened at home. We met up at lunch and he had 2 slices of pepperoni pizza. He said today seems like a good day to die and proceeded to wolf down both slices. I had never seen him so happy. I walked him to the nurse's office as he ballooned up. He was hospitalized for 2 weeks. He never regretted the decision. That's kind of funny. Just because he had no regrets. But damn, it's sad that schoolwork pushes people in that direction. Our school bully, nasty piece of work we'll call C, ripped the wig off a new student, A, who had recently returned from cancer treatment. They got into it and A was suspended despite multiple witnesses. We suspect even the teachers were slightly scared of C. Next day as we were leaving, A was waiting outside for the doors to open, comes straight in, grabs C's hair, slams her head into a locker, then proceeds to pull out a huge pair of scissors and violently chops off as much hair as she can before the teachers intervene. She was obviously expelled, but man, she's still my hero. Bully C was definitely put in her place after that and absolutely toned down her torment of everyone else. Wish I knew what became of A. Savage. Wait, so the school suspended a cancer patient for having her own wig ripped off? How did they justify that? By the time the teachers showed up, A was sitting on top of C, plummeting her violently for good reason. So they simply took everything at face value. ignoring our accounts of what started the whole thing. This girl in my sophomore year sent nudes to an English teacher. When he rejected her advances, she reported him for possession of child pornography. He lost his job, his teaching license, and nearly faced jail time. He was a pretty chill dude too and was well liked by the student body. Goes without saying, the girl received a ton of death threats and ended up dropping out. How did she have his number to send them? For some strange reason, giving out personal phone numbers to students wasn't frowned upon in my high school, and some teachers would specifically print out their cell phone number on their class syllabus. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and leave a comment which story you liked the most. Subscribe and hit the bell notification for updates on our latest videos. And don't forget to check the links in the description box for more awesome content.